space. The final. Some scientists think that space is made
Mission begins in
from
30 seconds.
space. We've tried talking to space, but space doesn't answer. Here we have planets. And
Mission begins in 10 seconds.
planets around the planets,
4,
stars.
What is up, guys? EnemyEMP here, bringing you another Team Fortress 2 gameplay and commentary. Today I am playing as a scout on King of the Hill Harvest. So in this round I am using the Scattergun, the Lugermorph, which is just a reskin of the regular pistol, and the stun on a stick. But before we get to the gameplay, let's talk a little bit about the Australian Christmas update. This year's update gave us 8 new weapons and a couple new hats. Now, I'm wondering, what do you guys think of the update? Was it good? Was it bad? Could it have been improved a little bit more? So, today's question of the day is what you thought of the Australian Christmas update. Personally, I thought it was an alright update. It brought some pretty interesting weapons that adds more diversity to some of the classes. However, most of these weapons don't really seem very practical and should be avoided in any form of competitive play. I'll be going more in depth with all the new weapons soon, so you can stay tuned for that. But getting back on topic here, I feel like this year's update was kind of a letdown. Last year's Australian Christmas update was it brought so many new advancements to the weapons and to the classes. It brought the lock and load, Sydney Sleeper, the black box, shortstop, etc. I feel this update didn't live up to its name. I was really looking forward to some new SMG for the sniper and a new grenade launcher for the Demoman, but we saw nothing like that this year. I'm really tired of the Demoman being known as that melee class, Demoman of course being my favorite class. I was hoping for some new pipe and or sticky bomb launcher being added to his arsenal, cause he really only has 2, and he definitely deserves more. Now there's still one more rocket left, so you never know. I still might get what I want after all. Now, moving on, I feel like the Australian Christmas update was a really big money grab. It was weird this year, because when the update came out, the only way to get the new weapons was to purchase them through the Manco store. You could do that, or you could unbox them through special crates. Now, these crates could only be unboxed with keys, and these keys could only be purchased from the Manco store. In addition to that, there were the festive weapons. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my festive sniper rifle, and I have nothing against the festive weapons, but the only way to get them was to unbox them with, again, keys bought from the Manco store. So I just feel like this year's Australian Christmas update had a greater focus on money than it did on the weapons. Just my opinion. Now, getting back to the gameplay, so I am playing Scout, King of the Harvest, you know the deal. So for all you free-to-play players out there that are having a little bit of difficulty playing a Scout, I have some tips for you that will hopefully help you out. Now, I'm not saying I'm the best Scout in the world, I'm far from it, but Scout is a pretty hard class to play, and hopefully these tips will help you out a bit. So tip number 1 I have is movement. As a Scout, you are the fastest class in the game, and it shouldn't be taken lightly. You need to use this movement as your advantage. When engaged in a one-on-one fight, you should strafe. You should move from side to side. This makes it harder for the enemy to hit you. Also, don't be afraid of running away if you are low on health. There is more shame in losing the match while respawning than running away from a battle. Tip 2 I have is flanking. As a Scout, I feel you are the most effective from hitting from behind. Because you have so little health, you need to have the element of surprise. Also, the Scout is more of a close range class, so you'll have a better chance of walking away from more battles coming from behind rather than from a more frontal approach. Now tip number 3 I have is use your double jump. Most players take this for granted, but you need to use your double jump. It'll add more surprise, it'll make you harder to hit, and it'll make it easier to get away from difficult situations. This is especially effective against heavies and soldiers. For soldiers, the double jump will help you evade incoming rockets. So, if there's a rocket coming at you, you double jump, and 9 times out of 10, you'll avoid the splash damage. Now for heavies, through my experiences, I found that the double jump is quite useful for jumping over their heads. It makes it harder for the minigun to hit you, so the more shots you can hit on the heavy, the less he can hit on you, the more battles you'll be winning. And the last tip I have, tip number 4, is weapon setup. You need to choose a loadout that complements the map and game type. For more open maps, like Gravel Pit, maybe use the shortstop. For more close quarters maps, like Junction or Cold Front, maybe use the Scattergun or Force of Nature. It is crucial that you pick an appropriate weapon loadout for the map or game type, because a proper setup will usually determine if you will have a successful game or not. For melee weapon, it doesn't really matter with the scout, because if you're coming out from behind and most of your weapons are shotgun based, you won't usually bring out your melee weapon. You can finish them off with Scattergun, Force of Nature, that kind of thing. So all the melee weapons, it doesn't really matter. I guess for some situations, some are better than others, but it's personal preference really. So I hope these tips have helped you out a bit. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Alert. Our last control point is being captured. You failed!